Good morning. Hello, my name is Jim Eaton. I'm an advisor with Habitat for Humanity Buffalo. We're going to do a little presentation this morning, just doing a quick overview of what Habitat for Humanity does for the community. And as another part of our program, I have invited our current executive director or our new executive director for Habitat Buffalo, and that's Christopher Kennedy. So Christopher,
Good morning.
if you just want to say
Morning.
hello. Great. So with those two quick introductions in place, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go through a little PowerPoint presentation, again, that describes Habitat Buffalo. So Habitat Buffalo, one of our key calling points is we like to say we're trying to really achieve is we're trying to find a safe place where every family can call home. So what I've got depicted here is a short picture of a couple of homes that we've built on one of our concentrated areas, part of the city. So what is Habitat for Humanity Buffalo? So we're a local nonprofit and we are an affiliate of Habitat for Humanity International. So it's part of the larger Habitat for Humanity family. And our affiliate was formed in 1985 by Ron and Margaret Talboys. They're community volunteers that are living out in Clarence, and they felt there was a strong need for affordable housing in Western New York and Buffalo. So they reached out to Habitat for Humanity International, formed a partnership, and began to build up Habitat for Humanity family in Buffalo. Habitat for Humanity International is actually quite a large international organization. There's 1,600 affiliates nationally, and there's also a number of international affiliates. So, for example, there's affiliates in Ukraine, Malawi, Poland, and I can name a number of other countries where we're at, but it's a very large international organization. And around the world, we are one of the largest home builders across the globe. So Habitat for Humanity Buffalo actually has a charter where we can build anywhere in Erie County, but we have tended to focus our efforts in the city of Buffalo. And there's a number of reasons for that. For example, we know that Buffalo is one of the most impoverished cities in America. And we also know that there's a lot of the housing stock in Buffalo is quite old. And as our statistics show, more than 90% of our homes in Buffalo were built actually before 1970. And we also, if you look around some areas of Buffalo, you also notice that there's a very high vacancy rate in Buffalo. So we have one of the third highest vacancy rates in the nation. So again, what I've got depicted here is a typical structure that we've built in the past. This is a one-story home that was built on Guilford Street, and this kind of represents a kind of a standardized new home design that we had been using for a number of years. In the last 3 years, though, we've actually started to branch out, and we have added 3 or 4 new home designs to our portfolio. So in addition to just building single-story ranches, we are now building many 2-story homes. So depending upon the lots and where we build, and the nature of the neighborhood, we'll build either a 1-story home or a 2-story home. And going back to why we primarily build in the city of Buffalo, well, the primary reason is to try to make our homes affordable. We have to make sure our families can afford the mortgage payments, but we also have to make sure they can afford their escrow payments, which would be their taxes and insurance. And what we have found is that taxes in the city of Buffalo tend to be lower than in the surrounding suburbs. So by keeping the tax rates at a little lower rate, we can help to make our houses more affordable. So what is our home program really all about? So Habitat Buffalo creates home ownership opportunities for low income families, but we don't give homes away. I think there's a common conception that Habitat gives homes away. We do not. We give families a hand up, but not a handout. So families that participate in our program do have to qualify for a mortgage. But what we have done to make the houses more affordable is we actually allow them to repay an interest-free 30-year mortgage. So that can, that's saving the family substantially on their mortgage payments. And the other thing is we also require families to work for their homes. So, they must be approved, but besides being approved for a mortgage, they've also must put in what we call sweat equity hours. So they need to perform at least 400 hours in a variety of activities before they're allowed to move into their houses. So the sweat equity, we do divide it between construction activities, but as I said, there's other ways they can earn credits. So they can, for example, they can get credits for their children going to school and getting good grades. So we've come up with a number of different programs and allowances to allow folks to earn sweat equity hours. And again, this is a pictorial of a house that was built in 2016 over on Wendy Street. And we'll talk a little bit more later about Wendy Street in that area, which is known as Bailey Green. But this kind of just shows a little simple depiction of what a house looks like as it's being constructed. Something else that we have just ventured into, we have just begun something known as a critical home repair program. So in 2019, we launched a new program that helps existing homeowners access affordable houses to keep their houses safe and livable. So what does that mean? We kind of find that in the city of Buffalo, it's not enough to just build new homes, but it's also just as important to keep families in existing homes. So, if there's a family that's having difficulties with their house because it's an older house and they need a new roof, for example, we can work with them to help identify a project through loan programs that will help them put a new roof on their house. Or perhaps they need a new porch because their porch is falling down. So what we do is we try to find families that are eligible to enter in a loan repayment program with us, and we can then work with them to refurbish their house. Because as I said, in a lot of cases, it's just as important to keep a house up as it is to build new houses. Another area of interest is Habitat runs 2 locations that we call our restores. So they're actually retail outlets that sell donated household items and building materials. So we have donation lines where individuals can call in and tell us that they have materials they want to donate, and we actually have pickup services where we can go and pick up furniture from individuals' homes. We're also entering into a program of what we call deconstruction, where some families are starting to remodel their houses. And what we can do is we can go into kitchens specifically, and we can remove their kitchen cabinets for them. And we can then take those kitchen cabinets back to our restore and resell them. So it's kind of a deconstruction project, but it also helps provide revenue. So a lot of the money that we raise from our restores goes back to help restore Habitat home building program. And another benefit of our restores is it diverts items that might otherwise have been turned into a landfill, right? So by recycling materials and goods, we believe we're also helping the environment because we are preventing some of those, maybe that furniture might otherwise have just gone out to the curb, but now it's receiving a more useful purpose. So I just want to go back a couple slides real quick, though, to our home buyers program. So I said earlier that we offer interest-free mortgages. Well, that becomes a bit of a burden because now every house that we sell, we have to be able to pay for that difference in mortgage cost between a 0% mortgage and market rate mortgages. So we actually have a number of programs where we request grants from government agencies to help cover that cost difference. We also have a lot of fundraising activities that we go through to try to help raise funds to help bridge the difference between mortgage costs and even construction costs, right? We still have to cover the costs of construction. So we also have a lot of programs where we get some large donors that help us sponsor homes. For example, we have an $80,000 home sponsorship where we can get a major donor that will come in and help us sponsor a home. So we have a number of locations where, for example, M&T Bank has been a major sponsor. So we have homes that are dedicated to M&T Bank because they've given us some large donations. So we have a number of funding sources. Some are donations, but then another funding source we said was our restore, and then a third funding source is actually the mortgage payments that we get back from our existing homeowners. So the individuals that are in our program, like I said, they're paying 0% mortgage, but still that return of principal that comes back to Habitat still goes back to fund future homes. So our impact in the organization. So Habitat Buffalo has dedicated more than 340 homes across the region since our inception. Like primarily we've been building in the city of Buffalo, but we also have, for example, we have a property that we're working on right now in Lackawanna. We've recently been able to work with Cheektowaga, and we've started doing some work in Cheektowaga where they've granted us some reduced tax payments for 30 years to try to help lower the cost burden for our families. So we are trying to branch out and build more across, some of the surrounding ring suburbs of City of Buffalo. But the other thing we've done is we have, as it says here on our slide, 2/3 of all of our homes were formerly vacant or abandoned properties that we've now rehabbed and are occupied by owners. We've had a very successful program working with the City of Buffalo and Land Bank and other institutions to help provide housing opportunities within the City of Buffalo. With the current run-up but I'll be honest, with the current run-up in property values in the City of Buffalo, however, we're starting to see that some of the properties that were formerly presented to Habitat for rehabbing have now been sold to investors. So we've had a little more of a struggle getting rehab properties, but instead we are working with the City of Buffalo and we've been acquiring vacant property land. And then we're now actually doing a lot more new build construction, where in the past we did a lot more rehab construction. So as an example, we've done a lot of work in East Buffalo over the last couple of years. So we're starting to do some we've got 2 homes currently under construction in East Buffalo that are being constructed for us with partnership with Murano Homes. And those 2 homes are actually right next door to 2 new builds that Habitat Buffalo had built over the last couple of years. So we're starting to build up a bit of a concentration or a neighborhood hub in East Buffalo right now. And then the final bullet says, through our home buyer program, we've helped more than, and it's probably, the statistics are probably a little old. We've probably helped more than 1,200 people now, including over 750 children who are now living in a safe and decent home, whereas before they might have been renters. So what we have found is that most of the families in our program are formerly renters and they're first-time homeowners. And this picture just depicts groundbreaking for our 300th home, which was back in April of 2017. So our impact. For example, we joined a community group in what we call Bailey Green, which is on effectively Bailey, Genesee, and East Ferry. So we have been working with Harmac Medical Products for the last 7 years to help build up that neighborhood. And to date, we've put in over 16 homes in streets that surround this initiative, Bailey Green. And a lot of this initiative was put together by Harmac Medical Products as they were hoping to reinvigorate the community around their business, because of what they're trying to do is they're trying to help their employees find affordable housing. So they're doing that within this Bailey Green neighborhood. So it's been a pretty successful venture for Habitat working with Bailey, with Harmac Medical Products. And our impact to date, over 80 of the mortgages have been completely paid off in our program. So you saw we dedicated over 300 homes. Well, of those, 80 properties have already been sold, paid off. Another benefit we bring to this city of Buffalo or other communities is, as you take vacant properties or vacant land, you add them back to the city tax rolls. So by doing that, we've added the homes we've built, we've added approximately $13 million back to the local tax rolls. And another impact that we really very proud of is we build generational wealth. So one of the best ways to eradicate poverty and to bring wealth into families is to have them buy a home, and they gain, and as the home appreciates in value, they gain equity in that stake in that house. So that at the end of the cycle now, we've got 80 mortgages completely paid off. Well, if those families were to sell those homes now, they would be able to net a real nice proceed. And that, we're taking families that maybe had no equity or limited savings, and we've now helped them build a nice nest egg. So home ownership is one of the strongest things any organization can do to bring wealth into the economy. So this, again, just a picture of celebrating a house dedication. So I've got a picture here that shows dots and many different areas where we've built homes. So you can see we've built a lot of houses on the west side of Buffalo. We've built them in East Buffalo. We've done a little bit of building in South Buffalo and Lackawanna. And it's a challenge because we don't often get properties in South Buffalo, just because landowners take care of their property better, so they're less likely to be vacant properties or vacant land available for us. So just a little bit of our organization. So here's a celebration of a dedication for that. We earlier had shown a slide for the groundbreaking for the 300th home. Well, here's a picture of that house being dedicated. And again, this property actually does reside in the Bailey Green neighborhood. And it's, as I said earlier, it's one of them 16 to 17 properties that we have completed in that neighborhood. And just for a point of reference, I'm just putting my pointer at this individual here. This is actually Ron Talboys. Ron was the founder of our affiliate, and just been a wonderful gentleman that, you know, put a lot of time and sweat and heart into building up this organization. We would not be here today if it weren't for Ron. Again, just a showing a little pictorial of some of the families that are in our program. Michelle and Stephen, just showing how they're signing their closing papers to purchase their home. So, you know, we've, in the last, for example, in the last 5 months, we've closed on 5 or 6 properties, and we now maybe have 1 or 2 coming up in the next couple of weeks. Some more properties that we've finished that we're going to go through the formal closing process with those new homeowners. Organization. So one of the things we do to really help promote our mission is we have an annual Women's Build Week. So it's typically the first week in May, where we go out to the community and we solicit organizations to come out and build with us that are staffed solely by women. So we spend a whole week building on properties, and this kind of shows, you know, some of our women's team that help build on those properties. And then the picture to the right is actually picture of a home in Lackawanna. So that's one of our new home designs. That's, you're just seeing, what you're seeing there is just the first floor. So we've already added the second floor to this property, and it's getting ready for actually drywall finishing. So it's much further along in the process than this picture indicates, but that just kind of shows, you know, pictorial of where we're at. Some of the things we do for fundraising, we hold an annual event called The House That Beer Built. It's kind of a neat, kind of an innovative program. We have gone out, we've sold things we call beer cards. So we've got sponsorships with 35 different breweries and distilleries, and we sell beer cards that allows purchasers to go into those establishments and get a free drink. That is sponsored by those breweries and distilleries. And this coming year, we're going to have, you know, a celebration that we actually call Hammers and Ales. So we're going to have a Hammers and Ales fundraising event, silent auction, and a group presentation, and that's signature fundraiser is going to be in March of this year at the Barrel Factory. Our organization, so here we're depicting our staff. So we typically will do one staff build day a year where staff from all the different functions of Habitat for Humanity get together and they work on one of our houses. Actually, this year we elected to, instead of working on a house, we actually came back and did a major repainting of the exterior of our Restore. That is our South Restore, which is where our main office is. And that office is located in 1675 South Park in South Buffalo.